Hello there, everybody. This is Alex from Hardcorian Guides, bringing you my guide for Transformers Devastation on Prime difficulty. Today we're doing Chapter 4, Possession. And this chapter, I believe, was the big old bridge chapter, which, last time we did Blitzwing, I think it was, right? And then after that was, after that, I think, this one will be a Minister chapter, and I don't know what I was thinking here. I think I was just trying to switch up weapons, see if there's anything I could probably use. I don't know. And I think from here on out, I started doing the whole different intro thing, quote unquote. Actually, before we begin into that, I want to talk about, real quick, also, this is just a normal secret. I mean, there's nothing specific with them. They just give you one to fight and make it look like it's a boss. It's weird. So, one thing I want to talk about is, even though intros are technically gone, like the actual, picture of whatever, and then it is a song or whatever. What I've been thinking about possibly doing is maybe just giving you guys an idea of what the intro for that series could be somewhere in the videos. And that way, if you ever wanted to just kind of make it like it used to be, you could just go look up the song before the video plays and then play the video or something. I don't know. I always thought they were fun and cool, and I don't know, they get me kind of hyped up for this type of stuff. So I just want people to kind of, if you wanted to, just, relive that, which that I would say that was probably Hardcorian's golden years, but now we're just kind of in the, we'll see what era we're going to get in. It's too early to tell, but anyway, so here we are on the big old Golden Gate Bridge, or whatever. So this is going to be filled with mostly nothing but ground soldiers with the hammers, and of course shielded enemies. And as you saw there, I was just testing out to see whether or not you could do Bumblebee's back attack ability. And yeah, you could, but it just didn't do enough damage. It did like half, and unfortunately for us, even if we were to attack the shielded enemies from behind, it doesn't seem like it ever really gives us the ability to do it. They seem to be too quick on the nose and turn around as soon as you go to hit them, unless they're already hit or in stun, then you can hit them. But if they're just, regular run-of-the-mill just standing there, then they, for some reason, just can't be hit from behind. I'm going to chop that up to just it wanting to be more difficult, I think. And it's not like it's a big deal. I mean, they're just shielded enemies. They die relatively easy, so it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, that's to describe the bridge part real quick. But back to the intro talk. So, like I said, if you wanted to know what particular song I probably would have used, I'm not actually 100% certain. I probably would have used, I think, whose song did I want to use? Oh my gosh, I'm having a hard time remembering. I want to say maybe Motor Master, or, hold on. No, it's in the back of my head. It's in the back of my head. No, it's not Devastator. Damn it. I'm trying to think of how it starts, too. It's the one that has, like, the guitar that goes, like that song. Either way, whatever song that was specifically, that was the one that I was probably thinking about using. It doesn't matter. I mean, they're all good songs, so, yeah. But I wish I could have done it, but the reason why is I just want to avoid any potential problems of YouTube in the future. Even though they haven't really given me any problems now, I just would rather just take the safer way and just not, bother with that type of stuff. I do miss it, but it is what it is, so. Anyway, Seekers on the bridge, just do what you normally do, where you shoot them. Which I always recommend just bringing blasters, or at least any type of, just long-range gun, because the loudspeakers are not going to do enough to be able to hit them. I mean, yeah, you could knock them out of the air when they get close, but that's the best you could do. Speaking of which, I don't remember if this game ever had a shotgun. I know it's got a sniper rifle, but I don't think it has shotguns, though, as far as I remember. I don't think so. I don't know. And speaking of which, I barely ever used the actual hammer itself. So I'm thinking about maybe in one playthrough possibly using it. I don't know if Grimlock can use the hammers. I'll have to check into that and find out, but as far as I'm aware, probably he can. I mean, I don't see why not. He's a big burly guy. He could probably handle it. I think Optimus can. I think most of the smaller, weaker of the Autobots probably couldn't. Also, another thing to keep in mind is I'm not going for any of the super secret stuff. So this is just all relegated to just fights. This is just mostly me beating the crap out of the main missions that, you know, need to make progress. Because that's what I'm here for. I'm not here for anything super specific, so that's just about it. Oh, my video there cut out for a second. I don't think it's going to affect you guys, but it just affected me. That's about it. But yeah, for the most part, getting across the bridge isn't a complete nightmare. It's just more so like, I'd say just resource management at this point. I mean, whenever you feel overwhelmed, don't feel afraid, at least on the bridge section. Don't be afraid to just use your ultimate, because it'll definitely help clear out most of your problems. Also, try to focus on some of like the more irritating enemies, so like shield guys and seekers, because the more that they group up on you, the more irritating and just a little more difficult they can be. Because the actual regular like ground soldiers, that, you know, the big hammer ground soldiers, they're not really too bad of a threat. Yeah, they can do a lot of damage, and yeah, they can really they can really get you caught up in some of their crap, but they're not what I would consider a high level enough threat. They're not super aggressive, which is nice. And even then, they only have like a few different types of attacks that they can even do anyway. So they can't, for the most part, combo you too hard, which is nice. They can't combo you too hard. But yeah, I just recommend going for, you know, shield guys. I know I'm fighting the ground soldiers as I say that, but if you can if you want to take them on, if they're the ones that annoy you the most, then yeah. But here we have the seekers that show up, and I believe I decide to say screw it and just start focusing on just the smaller of the bastards. Or I pretty much just punch whoever my auto lock is on, but typically I try to just focus on some of the more you know, smaller enemies to deal with first, because like I said, they get annoying. Now granted, you could just, you know, use their missiles and all that other stuff to your advantage, but you could just still, you know, just fight the main guy. Also, don't shoot when you don't need to, when there's too many enemies and you don't have a good enough space, or you don't have a good enough feel of what's going on. I'd recommend not probably shooting at any time, because it keeps you locked into it for a little bit, and you get hit like I did. I mean, if you can get away with it, yeah, then sure, yeah, of course. But so here we have, of course, Motormaster, and now we're going to be chasing him on foot, just like we did with Megatron in Chapter 1. And I just kind of goof on him. There's nothing specific with him besides the fact that you could just essentially just do this, where you hit him a few times, do a vehicle attack, and then immediately right after, just hit him a couple more times and then rush into him, and he's relatively easy. I get to the point where he pretty much just can't, he can't seem to get away enough. Like, even when he goes up here, he goes back into his regular robot form, so he untransforms out of his vehicle state, or he transforms out of his vehicle state, and whenever he jumps on that current, so gives you plenty of time to essentially just, you know, start wailing on him again. And I get lucky where I start doing the attack, the vehicle attack, where you start actually uppercutting him, so that way he can't go back on the ground and just make his escape. So that's what I do. I don't remember if there was inherently any reason to really beat the crap out of him besides maybe getting him to like low health, but I just beat the living crap out of him to the point where he's just essentially just defeated anyway. Because you have to fight him normally. Like, you're gonna have to do a full-on boss fight, but I just felt like just, you know, juking on him just for fun. I like doing that, just messing with him. You get nothing out of it, but it's just funny. I mean, the only thing you probably get out of it is just progression, which, you know, this game makes it to where you don't have to completely, you know, defeat the enemies some of the time to actually be able to, you know, continue on, especially on sections like these. Depends on the enemy. Sentry bots, then yeah, but regular, you know, Decepticons or anything of the like, then usually no. Also, I'm not 100% sure if Motormaster is a Decepticon. I think he is. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm kind of a stupid, you know, non-Transformers guy, so I do apologize. I also barely watched any of the Michael Bay movies, and from what I've heard, you know, that's probably for the best, but I don't know. That's what people say. One day, maybe I'll watch them all, but one day I would like to actually see the animated stuff. But that's neither here nor there right now. Right now, we need to beat the heck out of Motormaster. So, he, for the most part, uses electrical attacks. So this is where it's going to start going into Menacer. I'm just going to call him that because that's what I heard his name was. If I'm wrong, then I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. I used to call it Menacor, but I don't know. Menacer sounds like it's probably about right because I think that's what they were maybe like menacing, like they were maybe trying to go for. And plus, I heard that from somebody that actually watched the animated series stuff, so I assume that what they're saying is potentially right. I have no idea. I'm just going from that. Also, these electric balls right here, if I'm not mistaken, I think you can shoot them to get rid of them. There are times where certain bosses will actually launch those types of stun balls, and I think I got hit by one right there. And typically, energon swords and guns, anything that uses energy can usually defeat them. So if they ever get annoying, then just do that. But yeah, right now, Monomaster is just essentially just kind of a precursor to what Menacer is going to do for the most part in terms of just regular attacks. So, but yeah, just kind of just goof on him a little bit, you know, just keep on, you know, dodging and stuff, dodge at the right times. And you could also, like, even if the ball isn't exactly coming toward you, you can run up to the balls, the electric balls, and just dodge, and just so you can get the witch time off of them, and then use that to your advantage to, you know, continuously pound on Motormaster. As weird as that might sound to some, I guess, but that's just what it is. I actually thought we were actually closer to the end than we thought, because I was going to say, like, man, I must have not taken that long to fight Menacer. But no, I forgot exactly what section's coming up. I'm also going the completely wrong way. So that's kind of my bad. This part is relatively easy because all you have to do is just follow where your sonar is blinking. Just if it's blinking yellow and then eventually red, that's where you want to go. You want to follow the yellow, so it's not too complicated, thankfully. And it doesn't really last that long anyway. So you can either just follow where I'm going or just, you know, find it yourself. I somehow get lucky with a dodge there. I don't even remember what the heck was even up there to even cause that. I assume a bomb at the very least. But yeah, I almost get completely destroyed here. That's why I'm starting to fight these guys, these crane hand guys, so that way I can just get some potential health back. Because the next section that's coming up is going to be terrifying. And that section took me about like 5 or 6 times just to do in the first place because it was so damn rough. This is, of course, the first of the Wheeljack sections. So you have to protect Wheeljack. His health does regenerate, but what I recommend for this entire fight is bringing yourself an Energon weapon that can, you know, basically shoot energy. So I always just go with the Energon swords because, well, that's just what I like. So the reason why I recommend bringing an Energon sword is because from what I've noticed, you know, besides the obvious, that you can basically shoot through multiple enemies at once. And that is what you're going to need because there's going to be so many enemies to the point that are trying to focus on Wheeljack that sometimes you just can't reach, and just having them just die faster and just having that energy just to hit them from far away. And plus, the amount of energy you have on your sword anyway is relatively good. It's way more energy than your guns typically have. So just have nice, you know, nice, decent guns that could just kill relatively quickly. And then not only that, but just maybe having an Energon weapon at your disposal. So the Insecticons, I would say, are probably some of the worst to fight in this part because of how just, you know, like they're tankier than Seekers. They have more health than Seekers themselves. And not only that, but they just kind of are a lot more evasive and just irritating. They kind of stay away from each other too, so they don't really group up. So the Energon sword itself doesn't really work too well on them. That's when you can just switch back to your other weapon if you wanted to, which I think the Knuckles themselves might have actually did enough damage. I don't remember, but you could also shoot them right there as well, because guns do a decent bit of damage to them, which is nice. And then now we get to fight Seekers, and eventually we'll fight the actual ground soldiers, the hammered ones. So take out the Seekers like normal. They're also a little annoying, but of course, guns make, you know, relatively quick work of them. And luckily for us, energy drops relatively often in this fight, which is very, very nice. Of course, as you saw there, I did have the vehicle strike thing that came up when I was shooting, and the reason why that was is because once you get like consecutive amount of headshots, I think that's when it causes it to do that. So you also notice that I had more auto repair kits, and I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it last time, but essentially, the thing with those is I'm just gonna say it again just in case anybody was wondering. I did like just normal playthroughs of just trying to grind out for some trophies, like beat this boss on Commander without taking damage, that type of stuff, and I just ended up getting some auto repair kits. I didn't buy any. They just pop up so often. Like, trust me, guys, they really do just pop up. And yeah, so now we're on to the Bombshells. This is when energy does come very, very handy, of course. And you don't want any of them to really just ram into Wheeljack. So just do what I did with the other section. Maybe that might have been later. I don't remember. I edited the rest of all these videos. This is chapter 4. I edited all the way from chapter 4 to like 7, like last night. So I'm kind of getting my fights mixed up. There's a fight where I essentially just... Oh, that's way later. That's like chapter 7 I'm thinking of. Yeah, where I just kind of like drive around in a circle and just shoot the bombshells. The ones that explode, the red ones. The thing is, like, they typically have the same names, but they just have like a different distinctive ability. It's the same thing with ground soldier, like these guys. So, luckily for us, we only have to fight just the 2. Thank goodness, because if we had to fight any more than just like any other enemy besides just the ground soldier hammer guys, then that would have been way more annoying to deal with in that phase of the fight. So there we go. And now we fight Minister, and this fight, it takes quite some time. Of course, his weak spot is just like any other weak spot, where it's his head, and that attack right there is incredibly hard to dodge. Even if you were mashing dodge, sometimes I just feel like you never get enough to hit it. But still, though, when he's transforming out of it and he's changing into every individual, you know, Decepticon themselves, that's when you just want to mash the hell out of that dodge and make sure you get away with it. And for this fight particularly, I did have a lot of auto repair kits. You could do it without, you know, dying. You could do it without taking damage anyway, but it's just one of those things where I had it on hand, so you know how it is. Of course, advice, same thing, you know, mash dodge. And watch out for that damn big electric shot thing. I think he normally does that when you're driving away, I think. Because as long as you're at a further distance than him, he'll try to do that. And that evasive maneuver right there, it seems to be relatively random. I don't know when exactly he does it. Maybe he does it after a certain amount of damage he takes. But for the most part, from what I felt like, it feels like it's just relatively random. He'll eventually start doing an attack where he will, then you'll see it eventually, where he does a tornado thing. And the best thing I can say there is just keep dodging. Just while you're in the tornado, just keep dodging, because he'll just start spamming so much crap at you that it's just best you just dodge the living hell out of it. Also, whenever you see the cutscenes happen, that's usually a checkpoint, so luckily for us, we get a secondary checkpoint. So now we're in phase 2, and he starts launching more electric-based attacks, like these specifically. So he's doing more of the Motor Master type stuff, which is kind of neat. And what's also unfortunate is, unlike the Devastator fights, he doesn't have anything that gives us any sort of verticality in this fight, besides just the tornado. So, which even then, being in the tornado isn't really the best option for hitting his head, because, well, you just have a little less control than you normally would, so it makes it harder. And of course, as I said with Motor Master before, using the balls to your advantage, the electric balls to your advantage, to, you know, get those dodge offs off of them, and using them to, you know, to spawn which time, definitely will aid in this fight for sure. The other thing too is, like, even though Minister is quite aggressive and relatively somewhat relatively intimidating, because of his aggressiveness, that's what I think makes him much more easier to control. Like, when I first fought him, he was scary as hell, because of course I didn't know what the heck he was going to do, but as you could no doubt see from this, he's relatively about, you know, he does mostly the same type of attacks, and He also stops doing that evasive maneuver, even that that ranged attack too. He just more so focuses on in phase 2. He just more so focuses on just ranged. I don't know what you would call them, but just those ranged like swipe attacks, and then also just the balls. So he makes himself a little more easier to deal with. And unfortunately, I got the witch time thing there while he was activating his tornadoes, so that sucks. But yeah, that's essentially just Minister in a nutshell. Just go from that. Just use his aggressiveness against him. That's what I can tell you. So anyway, that's the end of the video. So I'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.